I'm so excited to talk about how to find your clarity in 2021. We have multipreneur and corporate business coach Kara Duffy taking us through her methodology to help us discover our clarity within our business and our life for the new year. I mean, sign me up. Oh, USC. Did we talk about this already? I went to law school at USC.
This is a project not actually going.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, we root for UCs around here. I went to Santa Barbara. My husband went to UCLA, so we're like mostly UCLA fans around here. But we both went to graduate school at USC, so it's like, should we be torn? Probably, but we don't identify with SC as like a rah-rah situation. But the other thing, okay, so here's how this is going to be structured. We're going to learn clarity and mindset shift, which I'm excited to hear how you're going to help us work through that. How to find your why in a sea of uncertainty. I think that's really important because it like compels me to get through the hard times when I have like a very clear why. So that's a great thing to focus on. And then discover how our why will translate into client conversion. Yeah, let's make more money, honey. So I'm going to turn it over to Kara. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, so the 5 things about clarity, and just stop me if you can't hear me, right? We want you guys to get this. So one of the things about clarity, and I have a clarity kit that we can talk about later, but we want you guys to be thinking about not just where you want to go and what your plan is, but really what matters to you. So clarity is so often associated with strategies and who should I talk to and who should I go after. But really we should start with what do we want and how does living intentionally apply to our business and ourselves? And we often hear people talking about working in our zone of genius, which to me is very practical to what I do for work or what I do for my business. But I like asking people, what if your love language was tied into your services and your products? How can you bring your love language into work? I think many of you guys may have heard of that book, The 5 Languages of Love. And one of them is acts of service. That's one of mine. And so people who fall into that space are usually fixers. They like to fix things for people. And we're also satisfied when we get to act in our love language more often. So how can you find clarity through aligning your love language with what you're doing for work? Have you ever thought about that, Jen?
Yeah, I have. I know words of affirmation is one of my love languages, and acts of service. So I know that I get a lot out of the work that I do when I'm able to help people make a positive shift in their life, and then they tell me about it because it just like hits both of those for me. But how do you recommend people is the best way to figure out their love language to review the book and go through the process so that they can take that information and apply it the way you're recommending?
Yeah, there's even a quiz you can do online. If you Google like what's my love language, you can find it pretty quickly. And even if you think about it, you don't need to know the specific love languages from that book, but think about what makes you excited, what makes you feel good. You know, this is that space of what do people come to you for? What do you do even when you're not supposed to? Like, where do you find yourself procrastinating or doing the extra work for that you don't get paid for? So it can show up in like getting lost in a spreadsheet or doing research or wanting to talk to people on the phone. What people come to you for on a regular basis usually is an indicator of what your love language might be. So how do we get you paid for that? How do we put it into your products and services as well? And how that can lead to, you know, we'll tie this into again about how this can guide you to your clients. But once you know what your business love language is, it can give you all these new ideas for what if I was able to serve my clients with that value add. And then this also leads into your why, right? Why are you in business in the first place? I like asking people to really spend time on this. And when you're doing your finding your why exercise, I think you should kind of look at everything. Like, why are you living in this city? Why do you live in this house or apartment? Why are you with your partner? It can sound crazy that to go through that path to figure out your business why, but there's often something in there that you can find as a red thread. I ask my clients to book their whys into 3 categories. The first are the holy whys. These are the whys that kind of sound like a mission statement. They make you feel good when you tell people. And in that,
Holy, like HOLY? Okay.
yes, yeah. I've had one client refer to them as, these are the whys that are going to get me into heaven. And I was like, okay, if that's what you want to call it, go for it. The second group of whys are your selfish or practical whys. When we think about our why, we forget to say things like, I want to be my own boss. I want to make, as much money as I want to. We feel bad saying the things that are for us or our family, and we shouldn't. Just build them into your plan. And then the third whys are the hidden whys. These are the whys that we forget are underneath a lot of things. And when you evaluate your love language, when you evaluate why you live where you do, why you spend time doing the things that you do, you start to see what's really motivating you at the end of the day. When I did my whys, I realized that part of mine was being able to hire people I wanted to give a chance to, who I saw potential in, and to be able to mentor them and guide them. Another was to be able to have my parents not worry financially after they were retired. How could I support them? They don't need my help, but I want to be able to be there if they do. Yeah. So those are the 3 whys I have clients walk through. And the second part of, discovering how you can impact your clients through this clarity is looking at what makes you a unicorn.
Makes you unicorn.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah. I have a unicorn tattoo, and if you can see in the camera, right?
Yeah.
Wear it like this. And I got it ages ago because it really was about how do you be more you and how do you follow your path. I know that my why is to empower people to live, to create and curate their best life and their best business. And that curation piece is what really matters. We're good at creating things, but how do we curate it so it's intentional for us and specific for our path? And so when you dive into what really makes you unique, that not only gives you opportunities to be more authentic and separate yourself from the competition, it also allows you to really attract your ideal customer that you didn't even know you had. Who really can you serve? So if you look at what parts of you are you maybe leaving out of your business, that could be a space for you to share a story, separate yourself, and figure out who's looking for you. To me, business overall, the whole sales and marketing process is like dating, right? There's not, you aren't a match for everyone, because that would be really overwhelming. But so how do you find your perfect fits in business? And usually it's about bringing more of you and your personality into your business conversation. Now, of course, this varies, right? Based on where you are. If you're a lawyer, you might share less than if you're in a marketing type space, or if you're in your own business. But there's really unique things about you that people want and want to know that you have or have gone through. And that's going to really make you stand out for your clients. And sometimes also when you look at what makes you unique, you can see what you can stop doing and what you can remove from your messaging and from your business. There's so many people out there telling us like what to do, and here's the secret formula and all this stuff. And if we listen to everybody, we'd have like lists of things that we should be doing.
Yeah.
So how do we remove things once we're really clear on what matters to us, why we're in this business, why we love these customers, and what makes us unique? It should give you freedom to feel, you know what, I'm not going to do X, Y, or Z because I think I can serve my customers better in this way.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It can be really overwhelming otherwise too. And then one of the last things that I realize people step over in a clarity exercise is our scope can be really narrow. We're only looking in this little tiny space. And it's because we get so nervous to believe that our wildest dreams might even be small. So how do we take the time to step back and say, if our wildest dreams, whatever our goal is right now, what if that's just step one? What would we do differently then? People talk about if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? Well, that's a great place to come from. But once you answer that question, what if that's still not as big or as powerful as you could be? What would you do differently even then? So believing anything is possible and then believing that it's bigger than you think it is also is usually an area where I'm coaching people through, because we only see the next step. We only see what's coming next. And I really want you to think about, how can you bring all of your power and all of your capabilities to not just change and provide your business service, but to totally transform your customers' lives and business, and even have that go beyond out into the community. I'm sure you experience this all the time, right? You impact one business and it's not just the business, you're impacting their employees, the customers, like you can feel the ripple effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I like get so excited about things, because I know helping one person is actually helping all these people I will never get to meet or see or talk to. And I can only imagine what they're doing in response.
That positioning, the way that you think about it, plays perfectly into your love language of making an impact. So that's what fuels you and drives you, knowing the ripple effect of your impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I was going to say, do you find it when you're talking about just the power that you're bringing your whole self to everything you're doing, do you get exhausted bringing like the full blown energy to everything that you're approaching in your business?
When I feel tired and exhausted in my business, that's when I know that I'm actually carrying around things that aren't mine. So when I'm in my love language, and when I'm in like me, just me being of service and there to help people with the knowledge I have and what we've agreed to, that's where it is mostly smooth sailing, right? Like it's empowering, it's invigorating. And that's actually a sign to know that you're in your love language space, when you get as much as you give back. Like when I record the podcast or I'm with a client, I'm energized after. I can have a full day of client sessions and be ready to go on a run and go out and like do all these things afterwards. Whereas if I'm spending the day figuring out how to fix problems that aren't in my zone of genius or aren't in that space, that's what's harder. And that's when I know that's a place to look at, how can I automate this? How can I delegate it? Or how do I just delete it and not have it be part of my life? The two big things I talk about, both in the Power Plays community and with my clients, is both this clarity exercise and then the time management exercise that I do, because they really fit so much together. Helping people build or finish building their 2021 strategies right now. And I think people got surprised that one of the first exercises we were doing together was mapping out your ideal day and then your ideal week, from when you wake up until when you want to go to bed or, stop having a plan. And everyone's like, why am I doing this? I want to know marketing. I want to know what new product to release. And I was like, well, we need to look at how much capacity do you have? And are you living in that intentional, curated space? Because that will tell you how much capacity you'll really have to work with clients, to optimize your business, and to scale the way you want to. Thriving is part of my 3-step process, and you can't thrive if you're working 100 hours a week and feeling that weight that you absolutely. It's much easier to thrive and scale when you're getting things done one at a time versus trying to do 100 at once.
Yeah, really good tip.
Yeah. So once we'll go through and like literally look at in half-hour increments how you're going to spend your ideal day or your ideal week. And once you know how many hours you have in your day, I recommend blocking out time to be like CEO time. Block out time you're going to read emails. When can you have meetings? And also, when can you do the work that you're committed to? I have a rule of myself where I do it all in my Google Calendar or whatever digital calendar that you have. And I never delete those critical meetings with myself. All I do is move them if I have to reschedule it. So that way, if I had an hour for CEO time on Monday and I had to bump it for a client, I'm now doing 2 on a different day or somewhere else. But it really is about holding that line.
How much do you recommend, how when you're filling out your calendar, how much sort of CEO time or working on the business time are you scheduling?
I recommend that people look to have 2 to 4 hours a week. It also depends a little bit on your processing. So if you like working in like longer chunks of time, maybe you like line all that up for 1 week of the month so you have time to strategize and then delegate and put it and implement. If you're somebody who likes doing things step by step because you're too overwhelmed to ever take out a chunk of time, then I think 2 to 4 hours a week, whether you split it up or have it consistent, is perfect.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's me. I'm the second one. I want to like chunk it out and chip away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that allows me to see clarity in what my client reach can be, right? Because if I only have 20 or 10 hours, depending on what's there for me to work with clients or to do things, I can automatically know what's my client capacity. I can put a strategy together. And what's also great about that is once we see that we don't actually have 40 hours to work with clients and to, make money every hour of the day, we really start to look at who are those clients that should be in those valuable time slots we have and who would be our dream clients to have. I have a list all the time of dream clients, whether I ever think I could get them or not. I have clients who are within my scope of like, these are hot leads, like let's make sure that those close. And then I have the group of everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always playing a game every year of how many of those dream clients am I converting? Because they're going to lead to something else. We do it with the podcast as well. Mm-hmm. If we want Lizzo, how are we going to get Lizzo? We're playing that game. We play it every year.
I want Lizzo? Yeah. Who doesn't want Lizzo?
Yeah. So awesome. Doing that calendar exercise really helps. So when you see I've got 10 hours and I want these dream clients, then the strategy can start to shift. And similarly, when you pull in that your unicorn exercise and your why, and you start seeing why this business matters to you and who can share in that story, your why and what makes you a unicorn fit perfectly into your hook, story, close approach that you can use in emails or marketing. And I imagine you would advise people your why and what makes you a little bit of a unicorn should be in your pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, you might be boring.
Well, yeah. And it's also that time that you light up when you're talking. It's just... Yeah. It's so natural and it's really compelling because it's so authentic and, it's like a magnet, I feel like.
Yes. And so often people say that they want change or they want growth. And I would encourage everyone to shift to say, I want momentum. Momentum is what's going to be building on like, okay, I know my why. I know where I want to go. I have some key indicators for how I can live with intention. I know who would be on my dream client list. And you can start building from that. I had a call with a client the other day. Once in a while, I'll take like a personal life coach client versus a business. And she was one of those. And she's like, how do I decide like how to choose? Like, what's my framework for being yes or no to opportunities or things? And I said, well, I made up 4 rules that I wanted for who and what my life looked like in a professional setting. I wanted to work with and surround myself with incredible people who were both peers but also mentors and inspired me. I wanted to be working on products and categories that lit me up and allowed me to be in that love language space and really seeing the purpose and value all coming together. I wanted to be growing both in income and title and having that acceleration path. And then I also wanted to be traveling. Like I just had a box of 4 things. And just having travel. I know my passport is so depressed right now.
So boring. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But when we can, travel's a great one to add to the list. Yeah.
Yes. So with those things, like how can you create just 4 markers that you can say yes or no to things? And they don't need to all be in the space, right? I chose who I want to spend my time with, what we want to be working on, where, right? The world, ideally. And then, how it impacted my personal growth and long-term trajectory.
Does every single decision have to meet all 4? Or is it like 3 out of 4 is good? Or like, is there something where one is so compelling that you're willing to be flexible on the others?
Well, I think it depends on where you might be in your career or your business, because if you're in a kind of launch phase where you're still figuring out and getting your footing on, then that's where I might compromise on one of those in order to get the cash flow and the income and the consistency being built. But once you have consistency, I would not compromise anymore. Because every time you do, you're going to realize it could be one of those internal instinct or red flag indicators. Like, well, hold on. Like, why can't I have all of it? And whenever I've chosen a client or a new career back in the day, and that was what I was doing, when I chose on all four, it didn't just move me one step, it moved me 10. And that's, again, part of that momentum conversation is I don't want to be living my ideal life 10 years from now. I want it like 10 months. And then I'm going to have a new 10-year plan. So speed and momentum matters so much, both for seeing the growth we want with our clients and our businesses, but also just, again, that intentional life and how we can be living with clarity. And, so much of us are smarter than we think. We know what our clarity moments are. We know what we need. We know what we should or shouldn't be doing. And it really is based on that self-doubt. So trusting your instincts and having that confidence that, no, like, I can have this life that I want, and I can have it way sooner than I think, and I can have this business right now. It's just choosing to go after it versus waiting for permission to have it.
Oh, that's my favorite thing that you've said. That's it right there. Mm-hmm. It's a choice. It's a choice. And you can be waiting around for someone to give you permission to have what you want, or you can decide and make it happen. Love that. Yeah.
And there's room for all of us. Like, one of the biggest things that comes up is like, well, my friend is doing the same thing. I'm like, yeah, but your friend's not you.
It's not you.
Like this is where that you as a unicorn, your whys and your unicorn features make you so different. You can't even be that other person if you tried.
Yeah. And they couldn't be you if they tried.
No. Yeah. No. And that's also come up for people when they're looking to hire and expand their team. If you have trust issues, like, will they be loyal? Could they steal from me? And it's like, again, they can't steal you. So what really could they be stealing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Your team is going to empower you. They're going to make you better. They're going to let you step away from the tasks that drain your energy and drag you down, and let you focus on the zone of genius, your why, your love language tasks, things that just light you up and fire you up in your business. So that's very aligned with how I, teach our, our how to scale your agency and our agency accelerator program. It's exactly that same philosophy, and it just works every time. But you can't hire from a place of fear or mistrust or doubt. You have to let these, hire experts and then let them do their job that will ultimately make you look better and feel better in your business.
Yeah. And the clarity piece is both for you, but also having clarity on the clients that you think you want, right? Like, I can make a dream client list, but if I'm not thinking about what might their why be, what makes them unique, those talking points will also give you access to pitching them and speaking to them in a way where they feel that they are known by you in a way that you couldn't have done, right? So the same exercise to have clarity and know yourself is also a great exercise to start evaluating who your client is, so that you can start building that relationship. It's like, how do I talk to people? Well, I'm not in the pitch space, right? So how I encourage people to talk to people in a direct sales space is like, talk to them like they're your friends. There is the human. So if you assume that they're going to be an incredible client and you're going to want to hang out with them all the time because they're so awesome, how would you talk to them? You would talk to them like a normal person or your best friend or someone you really admire. And again, it's just talking to another incredible person,
a human.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why an ideal customer avatar exercise is really important. It just helps also on the social media front too, just helping you connect, having a conversation. If you're picturing that one or two or three people that you're trying to connect with, it's like you're having a conversation. It's so genuine. It's not like you're trying to force some savvy marketing copy. It's so much easier to just be yourself and have a two-way discussion. with your
Yeah.
imaginary friend.
Yeah. No, exactly. And there are a lot of people who get stuck on their whys or what makes them unique. And I encourage people to ask the people in their lives that they know care about them. Do a little interview with your partner, with your best friend, with an ex, colleague or employee, because they're going to be able to tell you things that are special about you that you may not see and may not be able to put into your scope of work. That might be the secret sauce you've been missing.
Hmm.
So often the thing that we have to share is something that we've completely forgotten that we know how to do because we have put it into the automatic space.
Yeah, take it for granted. Like, doesn't everyone
Mhm.
know how to do that? It's so
Yeah,
easy. Yeah.
yeah. So I encourage people to do a like, what did I forget I know list
Hmm.
of really going back and thinking about it. And I tell people, imagine that you're teaching a 5-year-old everything you know about the world. You would start in some crazy places. Like you're not just going to start pitching them this new thing. You have to break things down. And that's where you'll realize how much stuff is automatic to you and again, that automatic space, the automatic, the love language, the what makes you unique, that's where you can 10 times something for someone effortlessly, right? You asked about, does it feel heavy to be in your love language space and giving all of you? It shouldn't. It shouldn't, right? It should just feel so easy. You're like, how am I getting paid to do this?
That's the best.
Mm-hmm. And so you asked about discovering how you can turn that into more clients. And so often we think that we have to have all these crazy systems in place to make our business scale. And so often to make a business win, when you look at how many clients you actually need, it's a lot less
Yeah.
than we think we need. Like most people don't need a crazy funnel system. They don't need all these bells and whistles. So if you need 20 clients to double your business next year, how do you just do a simple work back strategy of timesing that by 4, and suddenly your pipeline is like 3 steps of, I reached out, we talked on the phone, they were a yes.
Hmm.
And you could speak to 150 people across a whole year without even thinking about it and have your client book filled up. We get so stuck on having the right thing to say or the right angle or all these things. And so often you don't know the details of the right angle until you're putting it into practice and seeing like, oh, I missed that. Oh, they asked about that question. So of course, practice maybe not on your dream clients, but really break it down so it feels less overwhelming of what you need to achieve. And if people don't know what their average like price needs to be per client or how much money you need to make per month, that's where I would start as well. Whatever you want to make for the year, simple math, right? Divide it by 12 and then divide that by how many clients you would need live to get to that number. So you really know how many people you're going after. If we don't have something to measure, we won't know if we're succeeding or not. And then we'll always be in that doubt space of, is this working? How do I know? It should be
It also,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I was going to say it also helps with pricing and sticking with your rates. And,
Yes.
Then those decisions of like, oh, they say they can't afford our rates. So we work typically as a PR professional on a monthly retainer, as you know. And so a lot of times we just want the work and we're just excited about the client. And so we'll say, they can't afford it, but I really want them. So I discounted it. And that's never a good idea. But if you have this approach where you're backing into your numbers and knowing what you want to make each month and also how much you want to work or how many clients you want to have, so you're not stretching yourself too thin, those decisions about discounting your service are so much easier. You just don't do it because you can't. Because you can't, work twice as much and still have the vision come to reality for your business if you're discounting and having to double your client load.
Yeah, and coming back to the why on that, right? Because so often when we are discounting our prices, it's because of a why that the client has, and we're forgetting the most important whys in our life. So I have some clients who on a Post-it, they have their top 5 whys that they're in business, and it'll be like, my kids is number 1. Or it could be, I want to buy a house, number two, or, whatever their biggest motivators are. And so when somebody asks you to discount your price, you can easily be like, I would love to work with you, but I made a promise to my kids. I'm not discounting my prices this year. And people go, what? And they're like, that's the game I'm playing. So do you want to play with me or not? And just the fact that you've, again, inserted one of your whys in, people are like, huh, there's something different about you. Like, I think you get something different that I don't see yet. I'd like to work with you.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And that's so sticking with your authentic self too. So
yeah. There's a great restaurant down here in Newport Beach where the owner regularly talks to his staff and the customers that he has his business for his family. Their pictures are up everywhere. He thanks them. Like, every time you come in, you get to let me provide the life for my family that I want to. And you feel part of the process. And so, when we're working with people, every time it's a partnership, right? We talk about clients to vendors or customers. It's always partnerships at the end of the day. So, having that deeper, authentic partnership from the beginning and letting people know that you have these values, like, there's a level of respect that happens when someone lets you see what's inside them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it also lets you evaluate your clients, because, again, if you're leveling up to, I'm only going to work with clients that are my dream clients next year, what whys do you want them to have? What do you want their values to be?
Yeah.
And even just what category are they in? Again, like, if you only need 20 clients, why not dominate, people just making jewelry, or people just living in, LA or Orange County, like, wherever it is. We don't need to have this. You don't need a global or even national enterprise to be dominating and being the best in your space.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, niching down, being the expert, the go-to expert in that field, and developing, for us, it's deep contacts, expertise of a certain industry, so that when you're selling, your services to clients, they say, that person gets it. They know they know what's happening. They're super in the know. It makes it a lot easier to go deep instead of broad, and then you're kind of running around with your hair on fire trying to manage everything. So that really aligns well with how how I have seen growth in our business, like quantum growth of tripling our rates overnight, because we're leveraging that deep expertise in a certain niche, rather than being like, well, we could do it all. And people don't want that. They want a true expert. So that's really aligned with how we teach our growth strategies.
And one of my favorite questions to ask people is, everyone that we cross paths with are smart and intelligent and can do way more than they ever offer for sale. But just because you could or should, just because you could doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
So, when you find a certain category of people to work with, it allows you to create the replicatable SOPs, the replicatable questions. Like, suddenly that's also giving you your time back, because you're able to give so much more value because you're not starting from scratch. When I lived in the product creation world, I used to make footwear and apparel. We would indicate all our new products would be a different development type. Is this something totally new that we've never done that's going to take a lot of research and time and have a longer lead time? Is it something that is like only half new? Is it something that's just a new color, right? Like, if you had a Vans white shoe, just make it red. And the new colors are the easiest things to make because there's such a small tweak. So how do you, when you look at new services or new clients to go after, new industries, I would really challenge myself and encourage all of you to as well. Why are you doing something brand new? Like, have you optimized the thing you have? Are you making it harder for yourself than you need to?
Yeah.
Because totally new is going to take up 25 to 50% of your time. And when you've done that perfect week or perfect day exercise, you're going to realize, oh, I only have 2 hours a week to dedicate to something new. So either this is going to take a long time to launch, or it better be real easy to launch so we can get it going.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's like, and then that also helps you kind of back into what you could offer. So you look at everything that you're already doing and say, where are there like offshoots of this that work really well? So the way that we see that in our business is niches that we specialize in that have crossover, so that when we're establishing relationships and pitching clients, we're able to leverage those connections to serve other niches really easily with minimal effort. So rather than being like, well, now, I specialize in baby and kids and I'm going to go after tech. It's like a whole other thing that you'd have to learn how to do. But, like beauty and cosmetics and then maybe health and wellness, it crosses over so well because a lot of those contacts and the industry expertise serves both niches. So it makes it easy to back into it when you know what you already have, and then figure out how to, leverage those insights to offer new things easily, like a red shoe instead of a white shoe, rather than a whole new, a boot. Like, focus on the color shoe, not a new boot. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, but it's true. And like, we don't think about the sunk cost that goes into the new industry or the new clientele or the new product enough. We just think about, oh, well, if I get it, here will be the money I can make on the back end.
Yeah.
So we really have to remember to do that evaluation of how much time do I have? What do I want to invest? How hard is this going to make it? I keep telling people lately, especially with this crazy year, how can you double your business and choose easy? Like, put it on a Post-it, double my business, choose easy, right? Because that's where you're going to find that flow and that simplicity. And I'm asking that question to my entire team. We're always rolling out new things in some capacity. And I'm like, hold on, do we need this? Will it double our business? Will it make it easier? And I have my team be like, oh, well, I don't know. Let me come back and think about a way that we can achieve both of those. And I'm like, okay, thank you. That's where I want to hang out.
That's a good question to keep in the back of your mind or in the front of your computer with a Post-it. Yeah. Remind yourself all the time about that. That's good strategy.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're making businesses and agencies that are for us. So they have to work for us first, and it's okay to be selfish. And your dream client is not only going to be in the right industry and have the right size budget and do all this stuff, they're going to be excited to pay you and even probably say like, oh, that's it? Okay, thanks. Like, you want your dream client to say thank you.
Yeah.
Before you even provided them a service.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yes. Did I ask everything you were hoping to achieve? Am I missing anything?
Well, we have a couple questions. They're actually from your team, but they're really good questions. So your team, they're awesome. They're here. You're hype people. They're fantastic. One of the questions is, what about keeping that clarity at the forefront during a crazy year like 2020? How can we all look ahead to keep achieving clarity in 2021 despite potential challenges?
Yeah. Well, part of it, I think, is really looking at how can we simplify things, right? That's in that remove space. Any meeting that is important to me, including like a 1 month check-in. I do monthly check-ins with myself about my business all the time. I also have a business coach who I'm meeting with regularly for those check-ins. But I set that up, and that meeting is not allowed to move. And that's disconnect. I usually walk away from my computer. It's like me and Post-its and a journal, and I'm just going to sit there and ask, am I happy? Am I hitting the goals I set up? Again, those 4 things: work with people who inspire me, get to travel. If those things aren't being met and I feel the heaviness, I have to sit there and ask myself why. So often we have this vision of exactly how something's going to be. And usually creative people like us make it way too complicated. So how can we have this check-in regularly and have an accountability buddy, whether it's a coach or someone on your team or someone in your life, to be able to be like, hey, remember when you said you wanted to not just double your business, but also get a 6-pack? Like, I'm not sure if it's like one of them might
do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. We offer to connect people with accountability buddies in our Agency Accelerator Plus program, which is, our agency accelerator with coaching, community, clarity, connection, that whole, kind of support side of it. And one of the things we do is we connect people with accountability buddies so that that's a great way to kind of use that support in your business, is check in, how am I feeling about things? Am I on track? And somebody else will call you out and say, you know what, last month we talked about that and you said you weren't going to do that and now you're doing it. So why the change? Or let me just, shine a light on that, because you might not even realize that you've veered away from something that's important to you.
Yeah. So, and one that happens all the time is like working too much. So when you start to feel yourself working too much again and breaking that rule of like, I'm ending my day at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever your cutoff time is for yourself, really ask yourself why. Like, either there's something structurally, like how your calendar is set up or your day is set up, isn't set up where there's room for flexibility or things going off the rails, or you're really trying to do too much at once. Usually you can do 3 things a day. So just make sure you're not overwhelming yourself. Keep that crazy to-do list in your Monday or your Asana, wherever you keep it, but choose 3 things to do just that day, and that's it. And some days you have a lot of meetings, you're going to get to do maybe 1. Yeah. So just be honest and realistic with yourself and your team, and look for that long-term sustainability versus drowning yourself, because you will not get to your doubling your business if you're exhausted.
Yeah. That sort of is a good lead into Tori's question. Hi, Tori. She's saying, when we feel like we're losing track of our clarity when things get busy and stressful, what should be the first thing we do to refocus and bring us back to what we're discussing today?
The first thing I would do is go back to your why list. I keep mine in a Google Doc. I have the exact same 3 buckets: holy whys, selfish, practical, and hidden whys. And I'm adding to it all the time, because sometimes you'll get something out of the blue. So I keep it so it's editable. But I will go right back to that and be like, hold on, this is why I'm living my life. This is why I'm doing this. Like, I have to get recentered to the purpose and my why, so that I can then choose from there, which is like the heart-centered place to choose, versus sometimes the logical side that's looking for, I need to hit this number, I need this number. And it's like, whoa. Like, come back to your why. And then my second thing, if I could sneak the second thing in, would be really look at what you've achieved, both giving yourself credit and doing a gratitude exercise at the same time. Most of us who are lucky enough to have our own business and to be running our own business, we have a lot more working than not working. So just take a pause and look at that. I'll hold all my other comments. I could keep talking about that forever.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Is like, we're always just like, go. The next. Got to do the. And you're like, you've done so much. Like, it's not just achieving the goal. It's like the little micro accomplishments to get to that goal. Like, stop and celebrate that, so that you have a positive feeling, and kind of focus back on those whys again, and see the major progress that you're making along the way. And again, from your team, and they also commented, we love Kara, obviously. Question for us: what about the days when clarity feels bogged down, or we're questioning it and doubting it? How do we combat those downswings of clarity? I think that's a similar question to Tori, I think. Focus on, go ahead.
And I hear my answer that is a little bit different too than like, go back to your why list. Nobody should be an entrepreneur on their own. Like, it's just a bad idea. There's a great statistic that I talk about where the average single member, like a solopreneur, the average income in the US is around $48,000 for a single member small business. The second there are 4 people on your squad or your team, the average income or sales jumps to $450,000. So it's such proof that you can't do business alone. If you want to jump to the numbers that you want to see your business bringing in, you have to have a team. And that team can be a business coach. It can be, who you're outsourcing social media to. It can be, a VA that you have. But doing it by yourself, there's going to be a cap in what your earning potential could be. But there's also going to be a cap on your brain power and your sanity. So who are you surrounding yourself with so that you're not by yourself? So being part of a great community like yours, being part of the Powerful Ladies community, but you need to have a squad around you who gets you, who can remind you why you're doing it, give you tips when you need it. Usually someone else has the magic answer. That's why like you and I have connected so many times. Is I'm like, oh wait, you have this. Like, let's talk about that.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like in our industry with PR, it's been very independent, and people don't share their secret sauce, and there's always been this like, if I give you what I'm doing, then it's going to somehow be to my detriment. And we've changed that here. That was my goal. And I think that, I feel this positive shift. Everybody is so collaborative and giving. And I've just seen my business grow, and I've seen others in our community really, catapult their businesses, even leave their jobs to pursue their own businesses with that support system. So it's like, you don't have to go it alone. You shouldn't go it alone. Have a community to support you, but then also realize that a team in place that's actually working in your business is gonna help you do that too. So it's having a support system that's a network and then a paid team. Both would be ideal.
Yeah. Oprah's not doing all the things. So if you want to be Oprah, you got to give up all the things.
Yeah. Do not do all the things. Yeah. Well, that's so awesome. Do you have one final tip? And then I'd love to hear from you. Barb is saying collaboration over competition. That's exactly right. And I'd also love to hear have you share how everybody can connect with you on social. But let's hear final tip and then how we're connecting.
My final tip is to spend time between now and New Year's Eve on really knowing your worth. Your clarity is rooted in not just what you're able to do and what you have skills in, but really seeing the power that you have within you. One of my companies is called Powerful Ladies because I want to eliminate people saying I can't or I'm not good enough. And to take some time and honor yourself, know your worth, really look at that and what you've achieved and who you are for the people in your life and your communities. The impact that you want to make in the world does not need to be this shockwave that goes around the globe. It's okay to make it be really small and have a longer term ripple effect. So really look at what you've done this year for other people and how you've changed your clients' lives and your business lives. And let that be a source of inspiration for you to figure out how you want to have more of that next year.
I love that. That's such great advice. It's a powerful exercise, and we've got about 2 weeks left to do it. So let's all do that. And then how are we connecting on social? And do you have something that they could download to kind of work through this exercise? Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
great.
I have lots of tools. So ways that people can access the different tools. I have an actual clarity kit that you can download. And I put in a special code for 60% off if you type in the coupon code We Love Jen.
What is it?
We Love Jen.
Aww.
And so put in 60% off, and it has all the worksheets, quotes, an interview exercise, a matrix to fill out about yourself. But it's the whole 4-week program that I took the Powerful Ladies Thrive community through. So you can get that at courses.thepowerfulladies.com. Okay. And then if you want to get in touch with me on Instagram, you can do @PowerfulLadies or @Kara_Duffy. And our 2 websites are karaduffy.com or thepowerfulladies.com. How I can support people, my primary business is a business coach, so helping you make all the things happen that you want to. And then we have the Powerful Ladies Thrive community, which is all for female entrepreneurs to level up. And I think like you, I'm so proud of our parallel kind of universes and how, I see in you such a kindred spirit of like, how do we help everyone go and be awesome, right? Like all the things are possible. You and I have experienced it. We know it. We're even like shooting for more ourselves. So who wants to come along with us and just be having fun while we're doing amazing things in business?
I love it. Yes. Yes, we are very aligned in how we're running our businesses. So, and thank you
Yeah.
for that promo code. I posted a link here,
Mhm.
and then I posted the promo code and then a link to some of the
Mhm.
programs. I know you
Oh,
just signed up for Kajabi because I
yeah.
saw that come through. So I'm excited to see you build all of that out, and it's a really
Mhm.
amazing tool that we love so much. You had one
Yeah.
more thought. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, no, there's more free things. So if you go to
Oh,
karaduffy.com, there's 3 different downloads. You can get a 90 days business checklist. There's an ebook, how to stop selling and start sharing. And then I'm such a book nerd. Like I am the nerd beyond nerd. So I have access to, we're building up to share the library that I have for people because there's so many great books about whatever you might be struggling with in business or mindset, whatever those things are. So that's available there too.
awesome. Okay. I posted a link here, and your team is like, P.S. Can you ladies do this again anytime? I'm happy to come chat in your community. I was on your podcast, but would love
Yes.
to share in your community anytime. Yeah, it's just a lot of alignment in what we're doing. And yeah,
Yes.
so I so appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing this. I think it's a great way to end the year feeling empowered and really checked into your business and your why, and setting you up for 2021 being a year where you're intentional with how you're building your business and focusing on being a little selfish, which is
Yes.
great. Do it. This is your business.
Mhm. Yes.
And building a business that serves you and helps you create the kind of life and impact you want to have in 2021. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure, and it's an honor to spend time with you. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, that's it. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and go grab those free downloads and your 60% off promo code We Love Jen. All right, guys. Bye.